Welcome to another edition of Disability and You. I'm your presenter, Ganesh Singh. On this program, I'll be joined by Mr. Haslin Richards and Ms. Nalini Tekchandra, and they're both from the Ministry of Education Resource Unit for the Blind and Visually Impaired, located here in Georgetown. They're going to share with us information about the unit, its operations, and how persons or children who are blind or visually impaired can benefit from the services provided. So stay tuned. I'll be with you for approximately 30 minutes. Haslin, Nalini, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you very
Excellent. Haslin, let's start with you. Provide my viewers with a background of the Resource Unit for the Blind and Visually Impaired. When did it all start?
All right. Thanks a lot again, Ganesh. Well, the unit actually started in 1968 at the David Rose Special School. At that time, it was called the David Rose School for the Handicapped. Actually, the government, they built a building for the deaf, the visually impaired, and the mentally challenged. And after a few years, like in around 1980, that department, which was the unit for the blind department, was moved to St. Rose's compound.
Mm-hmm.
So there's where the unit was at that time in 1980 until 2013, when
So about 33 years the unit was housed at the St. Rose's High School.
yes, approximately, yes, around that time.
So where are you now located?
Well, now we're located in Albert Street, which is 144 Albert Street, right next to St. Gabriel's Nursery, or next to Starbucks. Mm-hmm. So we're now located there. The building was commissioned in May of 2014, May the 7th, 2014, by the Honorable Minister Priyamani Chan.
Mm-hmm. So you guys have been there for almost 10 years.
Yeah, the 13th, almost 10.
Tell us about the operations of the unit. Persons might be wondering, what is the resource unit? What is it all about? Is it a school, or is it just a unit that provides support services? So tell us about the unit and its operations.
It's not a school. It's not a school. It's a unit, or we call a resource center, where we would provide services for children who are blind and visually impaired. Now, let me explain how this happens. So, let's say you have a child comes to the unit, and that child came from a primary school. Let's say the child came from a primary school in
That's a
Georgetown.
mainstream primary school?
Yes, a mainstream primary school, but the child developed some kind of eye condition, and so the child is not able to see anymore on the board, or for some reason the child might be in the school, but the school never heard about the unit or so. So what we do now, our role and responsibility is as an itinerant teacher, where we would work with the children at the unit or at their school. That's the mainstream schools. So we try to make the children independent by allowing them to stay in their schools to work along their sighted peers. So the unit now, we would prepare materials like raised diagrams. So if the child has to do a flower, we would now take that flower and you pass it through a special machine, and it comes out raised. So you draw it first on paper, a special paper, and then you put it through the image enhancing machine, and it comes out raised. So you now teach a child how to feel.
So they will be able to feel the outline.
That's right.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
Shapes or any diagram for that matter.
Mm-hmm. So those are the services. So you provide support to the children who are blind and visually impaired that are in the mainstream schools.
Yes.
But you support them.
Yes.
So what about taking notes, helping them with assignments and so on? Are those things done by your itinerant teachers?
Yes. We also would assist them not to do their assignments, but to assist them with the materials for their assignments. Because we believe that the children, they must understand what they're doing. You're not coming to the unit for us to sit to do your assignments for you, but if you need assistance, you say, listen, sir, I would like this diagram to be printed for me. We print it for the child, we look for it, or we print it for the child already has it, or we help them prepare a cover page. We help them along in different aspects. Sometimes they need something to be recorded for their class work. We record for them, or we put it in Braille if they have to get it in Braille, or large print. or raised diagram format, or if you have to make, sometimes we assist them in making like these projects where they have to prepare and produce a project to their schools. We assist them along with the parents. The parents would help, but we also would help providing materials and guide them along as well.
Okay. So how do the students take their notes? Let's say the science or the English teacher is teaching in the conventional classroom, and the blind child is sitting down there with their sighted peers. How do they take their notes, or how do that teacher that's working with the whole class of sighted children, how do they engage that child?
Well, for different children have different scenarios. So for some of the children, they would record their notes. Some of them will take pictures of their notes, and then they have to teach us resources that record it for them. Some of them, we find that just maybe one or two of the children might be able to write while the teacher is calling notes. We find that just about one or two of them might be able to see off the board. And at present, we have a child who the teacher would know there's a new development, or they would bring the computer with the notes, and the child can sit at the teacher's table closely and able to write from the teacher's computer.
So none of them take their notes by typing using a computer?
Well, they can't. So they used to before the pandemic. Our children used to type, but they always have problems in terms of keeping up with the pace. So we told them, look, you just type whatever you can type, and we try to correct it, but sometimes we really can't correct it.
So what about collecting the lesson notes and the schemes and the lesson plans and so on from the teacher in the mainstream classroom?
But that's what we
to
do.
Support the children?
That's what we do. We collect the schemes ahead. So we're always working ahead with the children. So if they know they have a topic today, we already will be working like yesterday or last week to brief the child on the topic coming up. And if you have got a special diagram or aid prepared for that, we prepare it as well. So we try to work ahead. But sometimes our challenge would be we don't always get that full cooperation from all the subject teachers, because sometimes some schemes are not ready, and and these kind of things. But we for the past couple of years we were trying to keep ahead with it, and so we are struggling and we're working along with it as well.
Great. So in a nutshell, for the benefit of my viewers, the resource unit provides support to children who are blind and visually impaired that are attending mainstream schools.
That's correct. In nursery, primary, and secondary.
Excellent. And quickly before we go to Nalini, are these students only from Region 4, or they're students from Regions 3 also?
Well, we have students who live in Region 3, but they go to school in Region 4, which is Georgetown. But presently we have one child who wrote, she lives in Region 3, but she wrote National Grade 6 Assessment, and she got a school in Region 3. So we allow her to stay at that school, and we support her from the resource unit in Georgetown.
So the child is in a school in Region 3, and how are you able to support that child with the distance?
Okay. Well, first of all, we allow her to be at her school every day, and if for some reason she has a half day or she doesn't have school on this day, then we ask that she comes to the unit and we work out to the unit. But we also I'm assigned to her, so I work online with her in the afternoons after school. And on weekends, if I have to assist her, I would also work on weekends with her. But we also would type her notes and email it or put it in Dropbox for her. Also, the school has been helping us along in terms of the notes. They're providing it via email and WhatsApp. So we're getting that help from the school there with the notes.
So it will be beneficial if the teachers from the mainstream schools can get the notes to the children in an electronic format.
Very well, yes. It's beneficial, very beneficial when that happens, because we only have to go over notes with them. They don't understand certain things, go over with them. But that student is working quite independently, but I don't allow her to just say everything is okay, going to find details to make sure she's getting on quite well.
Excellent. All right, Hassan, let's move to Nalini. Nalini, you joined the unit probably a few months back.
Right.
What was the transition like coming from a mainstream teaching background to working with children who have visual impairments?
Well, at the beginning, because I just recently finished CPC, and so I've worked with children who have had different disabilities, like autism, other special needs like that, but never with the blind or visually impaired. So for me, it was a new experience. At first, I thought, this is going to be so challenging,
Yeah.
working with the blind and visually impaired. But then I realized it is not as challenging as I thought. I have two girls that I'm assigned to, one in grade 4 and the other in grade 5. So, like Sir Haslin was saying earlier, it's really working along with the classroom teacher, getting the notes for the subjects like social studies and science, where it's more notes than practical stuff like mathematics, and making recordings of those so that they can listen when they're at home, in classroom as well. So it has not been as challenging as I thought, and yeah,
Yeah.
it really, I think for me personally, I feel like I'm really doing something that brings purpose to my life, and also, in helping my students. So it's quite the experience.
Great. So, what prompted you to get into the field of special education needs? Did
Ra-
you request to go to the unit for the blind, or were you sent there?
I requested it. Originally, I was placed at another primary school, but then I heard there was a need for a primary teacher at the unit. And given my passion for working with special needs children, I mean, I've never worked with the blind, but I seized the opportunity because these come around not often. And in the line of special education, it definitely was a plus to learn how to work with the blind and visually impaired. So, yes,
Excellent. And so far, you're enjoying the
I'm
experience?
enjoying it.
Excellent. All right,
Yes.
Haslin, let's talk about. The lady would have mentioned science, social studies, maths. I'm sure my viewers are wondering, how do you teach children who are blind maths or mathematics concepts?
Well, first of all, a lot of it has to do with touch, right? In terms of whatever, if it's shapes, it's easy because you can get the actual shape and you can touch. You can do the shape in the form of the raised diagrams as well, where you can feel the shape. If it's algebra, you can use the braille. Actually, there's braille. There's mathematics in braille, right? We call it Nemec code or something
Yeah,
like that.
Nemeth code.
Yeah, where they use the actual codes for multiplication, addition, for the operations. I don't know the codes. I can't remember that I used to do them, but I can't remember them. But I have just to refresh. If somebody to refresh me, I would get them again because I'm not using braille mathematics. Well, we also teach them to use like their spatial intelligence, if that's the correct term,
Yeah.
right? I do a lot of spatial intelligence if I'm doing mathematics. So for me, I try to help them to understand it from that perspective as well. I also help them to take their fingers and to write on the table if they're adding or they're multiplying, so they have an understanding of what numbers, how the numbers are to be arranged, or the fraction is to be arranged. However, they most of our blind students who came up, they tend to shy away from mathematics when they start to touching like Form 1 and so on, Form 2. They tend to
Is
shy
it
away
because
from
it's
it.
getting more complex
Yes.
and the unit might not be equipped to teach them at that complex
Yes,
level?
I think that's one of the reasons. It's becoming more complex, and then we have a teacher there, Mr. Maynard, who would do who's more qualified in teaching mathematics to the older students. um, but he's now retired. So we have to look for another math teacher. We can find another teacher like
But as
him.
someone who understands how to teach children who are blind
That's right. Who
and
understand.
probably understands endemic codes and so on.
Right.
So we can safely say that's one of the biggest challenge for the students
Yeah, the
learning maths.
mathematics. Yeah, but what we said that we're going to push for the mathematics because it is not something that we, the teachers or the children, should shy away from. Because
Definitely not, because
No.
once they're going to go to tertiary level,
exactly. So we
don't have to.
already told them that everybody coming up as of now, once you coming up the rank in the school, you have to do mathematics, right? Until you have to do it.
Great. All right. Nalini, how many students you guys currently have at the unit?
Right now, we have 14 students at the unit. And this goes again from nursery, primary, and secondary.
Any full-time, or they're all attending mainstream schools?
There is one full-time student at the unit.
All right. So anyone of you can just explain to us a full-time student. What are the lessons like for that student, and why are they not in the mainstream school? Nalini or Haslin?
Go ahead, sir.
Yes.
So for the full-time students, we only have one at the moment, and we had like a whole class before. But those children, some of them would have moved on to different institutions, or some of them would have left school already. But for the program, the program, we try to work along with the child. What's the word? In terms like to work with that child, not to have that child just go through the motion of doing a work in a curriculum. So if a child is of a level, let's say a grade 5 level, then we choose a grade 5 curriculum and we work along the child. No, we're supposed to be doing a bit of teaching them like daily living skills, teaching them music, agriculture, science. Just to mention, those are some of the things that it's supposed to be doing. However, at the moment, we're focusing on getting these children off for CSEC, which begins next week. So when those children leave for CSEC, then we're going to now continue to focus on the one full-time student that we have.
So-
and she only started coming to school like 2 weeks ago when school opened.
So you got to get her to a level, and hopefully she can be mainstreamed.
Well, I'm not sure if she can be mainstream at this point because she's already about 16 going into
Yes.
17.
She is going to be 16, I think.
Yeah. So we're not going to be mainstream. If you're going to mainstream her, not in a regular school, but we try to. I was telling Miss only this morning that if we can't work out something to get her to go to another institution that deals with more practical stuff,
Skills training.
like skills
Okay.
training,
So she has an aptitude for that field.
we're working on it.
We are working
Excellent.
on that.
All right, sir, we're observing Blindness Awareness Month all across the Caribbean because we've had quite a few programs highlighting the work for the blind here in Guyana in this month, as we observe. And that is why I invited you guys on this program, because we want viewers out there to know, or persons, members of the public, to know that there is a unit for the blind supporting children who are blind and visually impaired here in Georgetown, and they can support children in region all across region 3 and 4, because I would have encountered many children who would have attended school with visual impairments and they struggle, then probably till at the 4th or 5th form, that's when you learn of them, and they're lost.
Right.
So I'm really glad that you guys were able to come to share with the members of the public about the unit. Other than providing teaching support and reinforcement of concepts and so on for these children, are there any program to teach them mobility skills, to use assistive devices, teaching them Braille, or any vocational skill classes?
Well, not directly out of the unit, but there's a collaboration between the Guyana Council Organization, a person with disability, they have, first of all, they have a guidance counseling session, guidance counseling course, sorry, that is going on presently. And then of recent, we want to get the children involved in the mobility training and daily living skills training. So those 3 programs are out of the unit, but it's a collaboration between the unit and the council of organization. So that's what we're working on right now.
Brilliant. So what about teaching Braille at the unit?
Well, we
Is
do
that
teach
done?
Braille. Yes, we do teach Braille. We have our Braille specialist at the unit, a teacher who is well equipped and knows to do the Braille. She's working with them with the Braille, but the problem due to the pandemic, the students were not at school, and so we found that they more lean to the devices rather
So
than
they're more
Braille.
electronic rather than Braille.
Yeah, they do more electronic stuff now.
But is there any way, because I know internationally they're marrying the two, using electronic devices to teach Braille, to learn Braille and to use Braille, like Braille displays and other devices. So are there any efforts at the unit to marry the two, Braille and the use of electronic devices?
Yeah, I would say yes, there is an effort, but the thing is that we don't have all the devices or the links, right? Presently, we have the children using the computers, yes, but we don't have the what should I say, the license form of JAWS to do certain things on their computers. Because I'm presently using NVIDIA on my computer, but I find that I couldn't get along with the tech classes that we planned, because that's for the school. We couldn't get along because of NVDA commands are slightly different, and so you find that I couldn't get on very far with the classes.
No, so what about using the Braille displays and so on? Is that being done?
Well, the Braille displays. When you say Braille display, what do you mean?
The Braille display, like where they use the
Apex?
Braille to read and to learn. The displays to learn and read Braille.
Well, actually, at the moment, the teacher in charge of the Braille, she didn't discuss anything about using it, but I would want to incorporate it indeed, because we have a smart Braille as well that you can put I guess you can use a USB and whatever it is to get your Braille, the stuff on the screen as well. So
Okay, great.
it can work.
Excellent. So, what are some of the challenges? The major. I know there probably a whole plethora of issues that are affecting the unit. But if any one of you can just highlight a few of the more significant challenges of the unit, and probably someone that is viewing might be in a position that they can assist.
I go first, Nalini.
Yes, go ahead.
One of our major challenges we have at the moment is transportation to meet these children. When I say meet them quickly, then, because take for example a child in the mainstream school, you go to the school, and then a next child in another school, you have to attend to that child. You either have to wait in a taxi, or we moving around with taxis all the time. Something you call, you don't get one, you can't get a child.
So you can't really plan properly with your
That's
time.
right. You can't move with time. You gotta always have lapses in between. Because if you go to bring a child has a 1 hour class, around 1 hour free period from 2 to 3. Instead of bringing that child to the unit, it's gonna take me about half an hour to get child to the unit. By the time child get to the unit, time is finished. So we don't have. That's one of our challenge in transportation. Another major challenge we have is having like a resource room set up directly only for the unit teachers and students at the mainstream schools. Because take for example, a child is working from 9 to 10 this morning, and then the child is free from 10 to 11, but a child has a class from 11 to 12. Now within that 1 hour between the two periods there, the teacher may need to work with the child in a private corner or somewhere, and you don't have that facility set up at all the schools.
But would it be feasible if there's only one child that is going to the school?
No, we don't have one child at any one of the school. It's only Selmars we have one child at the moment.
But
But all
most of the
schools
schools you have.
like 3 and 4 children
Okay.
at the schools. Yeah. We have
Because
one at Roses and one at
because sometimes the
Salamaris.
mainstream school might be, yeah, they can use a corner in a staff room or somewhere. But that's a valid point, to have a space
Yeah.
dedicated for the children who are blind and their teacher, just in case they have to reinforce, rather than moving.
Correct.
What about access to technology and resources? Because technology for persons who are blind and other disabilities, it's always evolving. It's changing rapidly.
Yeah.
Access to those technologies.
Well, I must say that we're trying, right? Basically, we need what we mainly need at the moment is the computer, and every child has a computer at the moment, and
But the unit.
at the unit, but not every child's computer is functioning effectively
So,
for several reasons.
so are computers needed at the unit?
Yes,
Yes.
To be housed. Okay,
definitely.
excellent.
The teachers don't have.
So it's need for
computers,
transportation,
There's need for transportation. There's need for the
computers, and other pieces of technology.
Yes,
Excellent.
yes.
Even the software.
The software.
software,
the
so
software.
licensed software.
Yeah, that's very, very important.
Excellent. So, Haslin or Nalini, well, Nalini, you probably can share the contact details for persons wanting to get in touch with the resource unit.
Maybe I should leave that to Sarah too.
No problem, because we almost wrap up time. So
Yes,
go ahead,
so-
sir.
So
Contact
if
information.
you want to contact the unit, if you know of any child or so, you can call the unit. We have a telephone number there. The number is 2277032. You can also contact me on 644-0278, as well as you can contact the same number on WhatsApp. So you
So
call us.
your personal number is 644-0278,
0278.
and the
Unit's
number for the office is 227-7032.
Yeah,
And please do call during working hours.
during working hours.
Also, they can even come by and visit
And the company, that's
Yes.
at 144 Albert Street between St. Gabriel's Nursery and Starbucks.
Excellent.
right. And other thing too, if it's that some persons you don't know where to find the school, so just go to the Department of Education, the Ministry of Education, and you just tell them that you have this child who's blind, whatever it is, and they will direct you where to find us.
Excellent. Haslin, Nalini, I want to thank you both for being on the program and sharing with the viewers all about the resource unit for the blind and visually impaired. And I wish you continued success in the operations of the unit.
Thank
Viewers?
you very much.
Thank you very much.